Hey everyone, welcome back to Bear's Workshop. In today's video, we're going to do a recap of the recent announcements from Nikola and what we saw at the ACT Expo. First off, welcome back to the channel. We are excited about the amount of interest in our channel since we started doing these flyovers. And today is going to be a recap on the latest news from Nikola. At the ACT Expo in Long Beach, we were able to see the Nikola tray in the center, and also there is a video of it driving around and pulling different containers. There is a great look of the inside of the Nikola tray by another YouTuber, Facts for Spacs. I want to thank him for the footage. You can see in the footage the tray, and it looks pretty good. It's a cab over design. If you don't know what that is, it is where the cab actually folds forward and exposes the engine underneath in order to work on it. Yes, the whole cab folds frontward, the entire thing, seats and everything. The only question I have on what is underneath where the engine would normally be, because now this is electric. So I wonder what is in that area there. Would love to see that thing open. The cab over design is more popular in Europe for a variety of reasons. One is the smaller and narrower roads. Cab overs are easier to drive, but not as smooth of a ride because you're sitting right on the front axle. I personally own a cab over on an Isuzu dump truck, and you're literally like 2 feet from the front windshield. It makes it easier to turn and steer into tight spaces, but there's also a safety issue with that. There's an issue because one, you're so close to the front windshield, and two, it's always possible that the cab will flip forward in a severe accident and the entire cab goes frontwards. But they work for what they're made for, and they're usually made for Europe and the smaller roads. There are other factors that are involved with a cab over and conventional as to which one is better. One of the more important ones is regarding the length. In the US, a truck is allowed to be 75 feet, while in Europe, it's limited to 54 feet. So with the cab over, you have that shorter you have a shorter truck, and that can give you like 10 feet right there, because some of these conventional trucks, they extend out pretty far. Inside the tray, it looks to be a pretty nice setup. I know that this is an Iveco design, but I also know that Nikola has customized different parts of this truck for them. I would have liked to have seen the display powered up and maybe some buttons getting pushed to see how the software is set up, to see how quick the reaction time is and things like that. There was a small sunroof, and at first I was scratching my head like, what's a sunroof doing in a semi-truck? Well, it's obviously for clearance reasons, and I think that's a pretty neat feature, but again, I'm sure that was Iveco that put in there, but that's a smart design. All the displays appear to be digital. There looks like there's a shelf or a bed in the back. Shelf obviously can store all sorts of stuff, and or you can use it as a bed. I suppose it looked like it was the width of the truck. So on to some other things. On September 2nd, Nikola announced a new partnership with Bosch regarding the adaptation of a fuel cell power module that's going to work for the Nikola tray and the Nikola 2. Nikola will be supplied the fully assembled fuel cell power modules as well as other components. These parts will be installed into the vehicles at Coolidge, Arizona. Nikola plans to expand the Coolidge manufacturing plant by 50,000 square feet, and that will also add 50 additional manufacturing jobs to accommodate the initial fuel cell power module assembly, and that will happen by 2023. Now, if you remember back in December of 2020, Bosch had cut its stake in Nikola to 4.9% from 6.5%. According to Bosch, they sold the shares due to their initial investment was primarily meant to support development of hydrogen technology. This new agreement gives reason to believe that Bosch still has confidence in Nikola to produce vehicles. And while there's no transfer of money between Nikola and Bosch in this agreement, because it is just agreement, but Bosch still will incur development costs and the scaling of production to actually produce these. And then it looks like that will be passed on to Nikola in the facility in Coolidge. Now, some of the haters will point out that this is Bosch technology that is just being rolled out into a Nikola vehicle. You know, the ones that would never get built, but they're being built. And while this is one way to look at this, another way to look at this is that it is a manufacturer placing an order with a supplier. Every company does this: Apple, Tesla, Ford, GM, and so on. Hell, Amazon doesn't even have a product. They just resell everything else in the world. It's Nikola's responsibility to take their knowledge and the IP and put together a product just as it is with Apple, Tesla, Ford, and GM. But unless Nikola was mining all the raw material out of the earth and creating a truck out of that, even if they did that, there still would be complainers saying, well, you took that iron and that cobalt from some farmer who had it on his property. But enough of that. On September 1st, Nikola announced the expansion of its Class 8 truck sales and service coverage with the addition of Quinn Company. They are a leading provider of on-highway truck service and construction equipment in the Central and Southern California regions. The addition of Quinn Company to the Nikola dealer network will include sales and service facilities across 15 counties. Quinn has about 17 locations in California, and they sell all sorts of heavy-duty equipment. Now they're going to be adding Nikola to their list. The deal with Quinn Company adds to the 116 sales locations that Nikola has already made agreements with. Besides California, there is Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, Florida, Delaware, Texas, Maryland, and Virginia. So we've got those states covered. But here in June, Nikola had announced an important dealership with the Wabash Valley Resources to provide clean hydrogen in the Midwest. With a $50 million investment, WVR expects to produce 336 tons of hydrogen per day when construction is complete. Nikola will be getting about 50 tons a day to dispense in future stations within a 300-mile radius of the WVR. This is a good step forward for establishing a future infrastructure for hydrogen vehicles. And one of Nikola's goals has been to not just sell trucks, but to sell the hydrogen. And this is definitely in that direction. I also think we should expect to see more sales and service agreements with independent dealerships before the end of the year. I think there'll be at least 3 more announcements. I made that up. It could be 5, it could be 1. But, 3 sounds good. Despite GM's cut back as far as the agreement that they had last year when things fell apart with Uncle Milty, GM is still a supplier. Nikola still has a deal. It is to access fuel cell technology that GM has developed but never commercialized. So that is still in the works, and that is still something that is happening. I'm still very optimistic that Nikola will be producing the Nikola tray, but there are still going to be some road bumps as the Trevor Milton case unfolds. I personally think he's going to jail, and hopefully he cops a plea so we can get this over with. I think the guy was a snake oil salesman who may have come up with a good idea on a product but needed real industry people to put it together. He was just all nothing. He talked too much. He got himself into a world of trouble. I don't believe he'll cop a deal. I just want him to, but I don't think he will, just because based on the arrogance that we've seen from him. What happens as far as the financial penalty? I don't know. There are several options. The government could take it all as a fine. They like to do that. The default for SEC fines is that they are paid to the U.S. Treasury, which brings a litany of problems that like going after anyone just to get money for the Treasury, but not the victims. So hopefully that doesn't happen. The shares could be surrendered and given back to the investors or undiluted. That's possible. Or there just could be a monetary lump sum sent out to investors at the time, but that won't help. I don't think that will be a lot of money. Of course, maybe Milton could keep everything. Maybe he's found innocent. I really don't think that's going to happen. I don't think there's a chance of that. I don't even see this going to trial. I think after all is said and done, Trevor Milton won't be a billionaire or a millionaire. He might be a bankrupt heir, and that's about it. As for the 600,000 shares that he transferred to his wife, the SEC says that is still considered under his control. So if his wife sells that, I think it's still going to be included in whatever this fine is going to be. So enough of Trevor. Let's talk about Tumim Stone Capital. I'm sure I said that wrong. Nikola has entered into a deal with Tums Stone Capital. In this deal, they can sell shares to Tunum for cash at a 3% discount almost whenever they need to over the next 3 years. This gives Nikola access to $300 million when they need it, or when there's a jump in the stock price, they can sell it to Tunum. And this is a pretty good thing for them. The higher the price, the less dilution of shares. And so they have access and they can take it when they need it, and they don't have to take it all at once. They can just say, this is how much we need, and this is when it's going to happen. So I think that was a pretty good deal for them. So my perspective, stating what I can see on the ground and hearing things on social media from insiders, I think things are progressing. It still looks to be that Nikola employers are still working hard to produce the tray. We're continuing to see more cars in the parking lot, which signifies more people working inside, which means there are new hires. They're hiring people and they're making progress. There are 2 tray BEVs pre-builds that they are building in the factory, and 5 tray FCEVs alphas. So there's 7 trucks that are being built in that factory right now. The factory expansion that continues. It's moving along quicker than the previous phase. Wallbridge must still be getting paid, because if they weren't, I think things would surely come to a stop if they bounce the check. So I don't think cash is an issue right now. This phase of construction is scheduled to be completed by the end of 2021, and that's this year if you guys are not paying attention. That is only like 4 months from now. So that addition is going up quick, and they already have a bunch of equipment outside on the east end of that storage area where that equipment is going to be going in the new phase, which somebody told me. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. I know the haters are still going to hate. They're still going to complain about it's other people's technology. Some of it is, and some of it isn't. Thing is, you can't just say, well, we have this proprietary information that we're going to show you. It's intellectual property. You can't share it. So haters, go ahead, hate away, but still hit the like button, because hey, you know what? I'm just giving you the information that I see on the ground. Don't hate me. Just give us your feedback. Let me know what you guys think. Lovers, haters, go ahead, put them down below. If I missed something, go ahead and put it down in the bottom. If you want to see more content like this in the future, please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, because you know you like this. And thanks to our patrons, we appreciate your support. If you're interested in helping us out, take a look at the link in the description of the video and think about becoming a patron. That's it for now. Bye-bye.